Hello everyone. So for the past couple of weeks, I've been in a reflective mode. I've been saying to myself, why am I not as well achieved as Einstein or Newton or Charles Dickens or so many other great names in history? What's the difference in my mindset and theirs? I started to dig deeper into my psyche and started to notice something very strange, like a wall or a sort of resistance, like a block that I couldn't stretch my imagination to break through. And after a bit of thinking, I would see so many blocks like this. Like I believed in certain things that hold no truth whatsoever. Like I thought that I couldn't do certain things, period, without any real reason. And the strangest of all is that I have been completely ignorant of it up until that point. It's like I have been programmed to think this way without my awareness. And in this moment, I really want to urge you to ask yourself this question. Why aren't you as accomplished as these great people throughout history? What's holding you back? You're both human with human capabilities, so why? If you ask yourself this question deep enough, it will change the entire course of your life. I started to notice that my life is actually the result of my imagination. If I am capable of imagining a certain way of living, then I am capable of actualizing that way of living. And here's a very insightful quote from Einstein that points out to the fact that your imagination is creating your reality, and your belief system is the most important indicator of how your life is going to turn out. And there are multiple quotes from Einstein about imagination, and I will be reading them all. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination circles the world. And here's another one. Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attraction. What you can't imagine, you can't discover. Logic will get you from A to B. Imagination will take you everywhere. And the last one, imagination is the highest form of research. When you really deeply think about it, without your imagination, you can't be curious about knowledge and you can't even gain knowledge. So imagination is the basis of everything that goes into your life. If you imagine yourself to be a smart person, then you do smart things. If you imagine yourself to be a courageous person, then you do courageous things. If you imagine yourself to be a creative person, then you create a lot of things and you become very inventive. Our mind is so powerful that any sort of thinking can change it, and it can change the entire course of your life because it's the biggest responsibility that we actually possess. And we can be hypnotized by all sorts of things. So let the best thought hypnotize you, not the worst, because you're always under hypnosis of some sort of thoughts. Your mind is so powerful that it can shake up the reality and transform it entirely to a point that it doesn't look the same in the slightest bit. It's just that your thoughts are representation of reality, and if you're changing your thoughts, then the reality that it's representing is different, and you are an entirely new person with new set of thoughts and with new reality. So you don't even have to look at yourself the same because you are not the same. You're completely transformed. The neurons of your brain has been firing in different ways, and there's not a trace of the old person. But how can you go about doing that? How can you train your imagination so that it doesn't have that broad range of limiting beliefs? And I'm going to quote something here, which is also from Einstein. I know that I've been talking about Einstein so much, but it's just that Einstein has been such a big example of thinking in a way that doesn't have so much limiting beliefs, and that's what we are working on here. So here's a quote that I think is the most important quote that we can start with, and it goes like this. If you want your children to be intelligent, read them fairy tales. If you want them to be more intelligent, read them more fairy tales. Einstein believed that fairy tales are important for children because they encourage creativity and imagination. He also believed that these skills are essential for scientists and are stimulated in childhood by fairy tales. If I were to give you a very tangible example of how fairy tales and reading fiction is very important for your mindset, I would immediately point out to one big, giant, obvious example, which is Elon Musk. He is such a visionary and a person that doesn't hold the regular self-limiting beliefs that we are holding in our mind. He is bringing science fiction to reality. He is striving to conquer Mars, and he doesn't know any limit. He wants to turn human beings into interplanetary species. which only indicates that he has such a powerful imagination. And that imagination has been fostered by reading a lot. Elon Musk was raised by books. He often spent several hours a day reading science fiction because it was an opportunity to peer into humanity's future among the stars. At some point, he said that he read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica at age 9 and would pour through science fiction novels for more than 10 hours a day. Consuming that much knowledge and ideas is going to cultivate a growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset. And that is exactly the difference between normal people and high achievers. It's all about the mindset that you cultivate. And another aspect of the growth mindset, which is so important, is the ability to be curious and to ask questions often about so many aspects of reality and not thinking that you have all the answers, because that's where stupidity comes from. So here's another quote from Albert Einstein, and it says, "Don't listen to the person who has the answers. Listen to the person who has the questions." And that's exactly where the intelligence began. Intelligent people don't assume that they know everything. In fact, they assume that they don't know anything, and they're curious to figure them out. But if you look at normal people and people that don't have that high level of curiosity, they think that they know everything and they speak with such conviction and they don't ask questions often. And that's exactly when the self-limiting belief is going to creep in, and you're not going to be aware of it because you're not asking questions. You're just believing everything as it comes. You're becoming dogmatic. You're becoming super rigid and one-sided. You're not open to any new ideas. And then the mind will be closed because you're not allowing any new ideas into your mind. And I cannot resist but give you another quote from Einstein, which says, "I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious." And it goes to show how curiosity is all that you need to have a successful life or have a happy and fulfilled life. But it's not actually the only element, because there's a stronger ground that you need to put your curiosity on. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to sustain that path of curiosity, because curiosity alone is not that strong. It has to be combined with the why. Why is it that you're curious about that? And you have to pursue the value that you have, because at some point, the journey is going to become so tough that the curiosity is going to vanish if you don't have a strong why behind it. And since I've been quoting Einstein a lot, let's just sneak one more in. He said, "Try not to become a man of success, rather become a man of value," because success is going to end at some point. I mean, life happens and that successful era is going to be over before you even know it. But if you have strong values, they're going to stay with you till the day you die and even after that. So pursue value, do not pursue success, because the side effect of it is going to be success, but it's not the main goal, because you have to put your focus on your values, and that only makes you process oriented and not result oriented. So you care about what you're doing, whether or not it really is worthwhile. And if it doesn't have any value, then you drop it. But if it is valuable to you and you're facing a lot of challenges, it's like you're not actually seeing any results right away, even in that case, you're not gonna be demotivated, because you know that you're doing it for the right reasons and you don't care about the result too much. You care about the person that you're becoming in the process. So the process in itself is giving you the reward. And putting too much thought into the future is so fatal, because at the end of the day, we're not aware of what's going to happen in the future and we cannot predict the events. So anything that can go wrong will go wrong at some point, and we don't have any control over what's going to happen in the future. We only have control over what we are doing right now. And so if you become now oriented, you will eventually drop this self-limiting belief, because you have given up thinking too much about the future and you don't care about it too much. So the worries are going to leave your mind, and the only thing that is going to remain is the possibilities that you see in the moment and what you can do to reap the benefit of each and every moment. Something else that we need to do in order to adopt the growth mindset is to replace your inner critic with curiosity. That nagging self-doubt that comes up when you have a fixed mindset will not help you achieve any of your ambition. So instead of that, you have to speak to yourself in a kind and compassionate and encouraging way. I do that often by recording myself and trying to talk to myself about the situation that I'm trapped in. And I do that because I know that if I don't talk to myself, it will turn into this giant monster of criticism that I don't know what to do about, because your emotions are going to get in the way, and that emotional side effect of whatever situation you're in is going to kind of sweep the logic out of your mind, and you will be unable to even see the situation as is. So what I do is to probably journal about the situation and talk to myself in a way that I'm talking to a friend and I'm respecting myself. I don't go over the boundaries with myself. I always have a boundary even with myself. And I try to respect the boundaries when I'm talking to myself. So I try so hard to keep it logical in a way that everything that is coming out of my mouth is only directed toward improving the situation, and not to give myself some unproductive criticism that doesn't change anything for the better. And at the end of the day, the most important tip that I can possibly give you is to journal about each and every aspect of your mentality and try to figure out why you're thinking the way that you're thinking. Why is it that you consider yourself incapable of doing some activities or achieving some goals? What is it that is holding you back? You have to figure that out, and you have to change it into the most capable and curious mindset. So keep asking questions and stay curious. Thank you so much for listening to me. I hope that it was helpful and open your mind in some ways, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a nice day.